Under Hawaii's coastal zone management law, we have designated some of our most sensitive lands in the state to be in the special management area. Most of our shoreline areas are in the special management area. And under this designation, if anybody is going to be developing these lands, they need to obtain a special management area permit. That's one of the few permits that we have under state law that makes sure that we protect shoreline access. This is the rights of people to access the shoreline in Hawaii is something that makes our state unique. What this law provides is that state developments on state lands are exempt from the need to get a shoreline management area permit, and in some cases may be exempt from the shoreline setbacks. The only requirement is that they conduct a self-consistency review, which is similar to the fox guarding the hen house. I'd like to point out that we already passed Senate Bill 1207, which exempts the Harbors Division from having to get a Conservation District use permit for any new harbor or expansion of existing harbors. If we are to pass this measure, the State Harbors Division would not need to get any state permits for expansions or new harbors. These are facilities that many people in our state, boaters, surfers, sailors, canoe clubs, use for shoreline access in many fishing areas. And to take away all the state permits that would require that these types of facilities and expansions have to maintain shoreline access is something that I cannot support. So I oppose this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator Heat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support with some reservations.
Please proceed.
I do so knowing that the bill is defective, and that's why I'm rising in support, so that there's some discussion that can deal with some of the issues articulated by the previous speaker. While I appreciate that side of the coin, there's also another side of the coin, and that is, and let me give you a specific example. For more than a decade, the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology in Kaneohe Bay has been trying to get the necessary permits to shore up its island that is literally falling into the ocean and causing harm to the reef. We have in the past sent legislation over to the House to see the demise of the legislation, which would have allowed HIMB to proceed with saving the island. That's the other side of the coin, and I don't mean to diminish what the previous speaker had said with respect to the example used by Harbors. The concern here is that the public process of allowing people to weigh in my opinion, must be addressed. And let me give you an example. There was a time when DLNR intended to turn part of the shoreline of Sand Island into a marina for boats. On the face of it, sounds like a reasonable idea. After all, we are an ocean state. But when doing more research, the place that the harbor for boats was proposed to be built was exactly where the canoe clubs were. And it stands to, for good reason. The canoe clubs were there because it was a sheltered area of Sand Island. So this is, in my view, why it's necessary that if permits are to be expedited, the public participation must not. The public has every right and should have every right to weigh in. While I can see this bill being of great assistance to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs on its Kaka'ako Makai lands, the public still has a right and should have that right to weigh in on the future of shoreline areas. So while I have some strong concerns about this bill, I note that it is defective, and I am confident that some of the issues articulated can be addressed as it goes forward. Thank you.
Further discussion? Senator Solomon.
Thank you very much, Vice President. I rise in support of this bill.
Please proceed.
The purpose of this bill is to provide a streamlined state consistency review process for the development by state agencies on state lands within a special management area, an SMA, in place of a county-approved SMA permit and shoreline setback variance in light of scarce resources, reductions in staff, reduced funding for state programs. The state consistency review and certification process will allow the Hawaii CZM Coastal Zone Management Program to remain consistent with the state and federally approved Coastal Zone Management Program, and helps the state expeditiously deliver capital improvement and repair and maintenance costs. The question was proposed by the previous speakers. Is this another exemption? No. Projects will not be exempt from the CZM law. This is a streamlining effort to make the process simpler and more efficient while still achieving the purpose of Hawaii's CZM law to provide for the effective management, beneficial use, protection, and development of the coastal zones. In 1975, our legislature found that special controls on developments within areas along the shoreline were necessary to avoid permanent losses of valuable resources and the foreclosure of management options, and to ensure that adequate access by dedication of other means to public-owned or used beaches, recreation areas, natural reserves is provided. Mr. Vice President, the drafting of this bill was done in consultation with various stakeholders who have jurisdiction and regulatory responsibility over CZM Act implementation. The Office of Planning sought comments from the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Forestry and Wildlife, Division of State Parks, Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation, Office of Conservation and Coastal Lands, Department of Transportation, Airport Division, Harbors Division, Highways Division, Statewide Transportation Planning Office, Office of Hawaiian Affairs, all 4 county planning departments, and the Marine and Coastal Zone Advocacy Council, a 12-member public advisory board with at least 2 members from each county. The director also discussed the Office of Planning proposals at various presentations before such audiences as the 2012 Hawaii Congress of Planning officials, the Environmental Caucus of the Democrat Party of Hawaii, and members of the Environmental Council. So with this in mind, Mr. President, I'm asking my colleagues to please support this bill. And as we all know, third reading still means that it is a work in progress. Thank you very much.
Further discussion? Senator Sloan?
Reservations, please.
Do we have unanimous consent? 1 no for Senator Thielen. For Senator Thielen. 1 no vote. Reservations, Senator Keith Agaran, Senator Sloan, Senator Chan Oakland, Senator Ihara, Senator He, Senator Shimabukuro, Senator Green, all others, Senator Ruderman? 2 no votes. No vote. We were calling no vote. I had Senator Thielen. Now I have Senator Ruderman, Senator Ihara. The others would have been the reservations. Rest in the affirmative.
22 ayes, 3 noes.
Senate Bill 1027, Senate Draft 1, passes third reading.
Standing Committee report.